Hello, hello, beautiful people. Welcome to the Sideline Speaks with myself, Brittany Jones, alongside Jason Collins and Kevin Walker, right here on Never Had It So Good Sports Media Network. Woo! What's going on, K Walk and Jay?
All is well. All is well. Looking for a great one. Jay, you're on mute.
Appreciate the heads up, K-Walk. I got a lot going on inside this house right now, man. So I appreciate you looking out there for
No
me.
doubt, brother.
K Walk, real quick.
Yeah.
What's your Yankees record?
It's 40. They're 47-21. They're just a couple percentage points behind your Phillies. That's about it. We
They
got
are
more
going
wins.
back and forth.
Yeah, we got more wins, but y'all have less losses.
Yeah, that would be a nice World Series, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I would like a repeat of 2009, the last time we won one. So I'll take it.
Hey,
Yeah, we need a redemption. They shouldn't have lost, but they definitely did. God dang.
Don't forget to include me in this conversation. I'm a Phillies fan, so don't forget about me in this one.
I was getting ready to test you, Jay, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna leave it alone.
Yeah, leave it.
I'm gonna leave that one alone.
Give me a couple
more. Like, name one player. No, I'm just kidding.
That's easy. Name two.
You had me at one.
Oh wow, really? Okay, I'll give you a benefit of the doubt, Jay. Okay.
All right, guys, let's talk about some sports. We got to get into it. There's so much going on. Once again, we are back at the WNBA. I'm so happy the WNBA is being spoken about, because to me, all publicity is good publicity. The more people speak about you, the more attention it brings to the game, the more dollars starts rising. Exactly. But we got to get back into it. Yes, we have to get back and talking about this young lady, Caitlin Clark, because as we know, the USA committee has selected Team USA for women's basketball to go to Paris just next month, I believe it is. Mm-hmm. But there has been a huge uproar because Caitlin Clark has not been selected. Now, before we get into some thoughts, I do have a video to show you, just to give Caitlin Clark how she felt about it a little bit, and then just maybe one other person, just to give an idea of what's going on here. You guys ready?
Let's do it.
It's coming up now. Hopefully it's not giving me back technology issues like it did last time. Well, it was coming up. I don't know what happened. Let's try this again. Oh boy. Okay, here we go.
Ball. Also, there's no player under the age of 26 on that roster. Here's Caitlin on not making the team.
Honestly, no disappointment. Like, I think it just gives you something to work for. That's a dream. Hopefully one day I can be there. And I think it's just a little more motivation. You remember that, and hopefully in 4 years, when 4 years comes back around, I can be there.
We talked actually on the bus. She got the call on the bus, and she texted me to let me know. And I just tried to keep her spirits. I mean, the thing she said was, "Hey, coach, they woke a monster," which I thought was awesome.
I'm sure the answer isn't as simple. Huh? Was it the right decision not to put Caitlin Clark on the Olympic team?
I'm okay with it. I think it was fine. But I will say,
jeez, I don't know what's going on, guys. So you know what? We're gonna just disregard all this then. like this
Even
is,
they pulled the plug
on this roster to achieve a goal that they have also worked incredibly hard for. I understand the passion that has been provoked in this one, but when you look at Team USA at women's basketball, they've had a following internationally. Is there an opportunity to make it bigger? Sure. Would it exceed the numbers we saw in 1996 that led to the birth of the WNBA? I'm not sure. That viewership was in the 20 mil range as well. So this, to me, you defer to Caitlin, who has said the most difficult team to make. It's a goal of mine eventually. She's okay. And so I do not think that this was a missed opportunity. There have been bigger misses as far as Team USA women's basketball is concerned, in terms of players that actually had the talent and had the merit and earned a right to be on those teams. I don't think that this one is a big deal. She's going to have plenty of opportunity to be on the Olympic.
All right. Well, we got the gist of it. Fortunately, I don't know what's going on with this technology stuff. I'm gonna have to figure that out a little bit later. But thank you for bearing with me. But I just want to get your overall thoughts because it hasn't been a lot. It's been a lot of people are upset she wasn't a part of it, and then there are some who understand. So I just want to get your thoughts on whether or not you think Caitlin Clark should have been a part of Team USA. Jay, I'm gonna start with you first.
Yeah, Britt, like I've seen both sides of the argument over the last 24 hours. And honestly, I can kind of see where both sides are coming from. Like, I understand the people that want Caitlin Clark on the team because they think it's going to grow the game, because they think it's going to bring more eyeballs and all those kinds of things. I get that. I also understand the people that are saying, you know what, right now, she's not one of the 12 best players. Like, from a basketball perspective, she does not deserve to be on the team. So I see it both ways. I think where I come down, Britt, is that I don't know. Like, for me, sports has just always been about merit. Like, I know, like, it's big business now and things have to happen and, follow the money. But for me, it's just always been about merit. Like, are you good enough or are you not good enough? And I think in this instance right now, she's not good enough to be on the team. Like, she's been very inconsistent this year. She's had some great games. She's had some games where she didn't play well. And I just think that the 12 ladies that are on that team right now are probably the ones that are best suited to go and win the gold medal. Now, if they would have put Clark on the team because they said, you know what, there is precedent for this, we've done it before, more so on the men's side, I would have been all right with that too. Like, I wouldn't have been super upset if they said, hey, we're going to throw her a bone and put her on there, kind of like we did with Christian Laettner in 92. I'm okay with that. I think the problem is, like, it's the Caitlin Clark crazies. Like, I'm a fan of Caitlin Clark. I want her to do well, but I also have some common sense in this situation. And I think the Caitlin Clark crazies that think she's the best player in the world, she should be on the Olympic team, we're not going to watch if she's not there. I think those people just have to calm down a little bit. So, look, I'm okay with the decision, Britt. I think from a basketball perspective, she's not one of the best 12. So if you're looking at it that way, she probably shouldn't be on the team.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, Jay. I'm okay with the decision as well. I know there was a big uproar because I think one of the players that's on the team now is it Kelsey Gray, I believe, hasn't really played all year.
Right.
But I need people to understand you have to separate the WNBA from the Olympics. These are two different leagues, two different committees, two different whatever. And I understand, people are saying, well, you pick Caitlin Clark on the league, it brings attention to the WNBA. Maybe, maybe not. We're not sure. We do know that, whether it's college basketball for women's, whether it's USA basketball for women, those are much more known and grab a lot of attention. They have a lot more fans and a lot more viewership than the WNBA. So I think the Olympic team will be just fine without Caitlin Clark. And if they win, you're bringing more attention again to the WNBA. Maybe not as much, but you have more international attention because once again, they'll be going for their, is it 9th straight or 10th straight? Something like that.
Is it
8th,
I thought it was
8th
eight.
straight?
I thought it was 8. I thought it was 8. I could be wrong though.
It might be okay. Eighth straight gold medal, which is way better than the men's. Sorry, no shade there. But you also have to understand, the women's side is super competitive, very competitive, and they do not play about winning. They want to win a gold medal, and they will not compromise at all to winning a gold medal. And she's 22, like we said, she's 22 years old. She's very young. She'll probably be in the very next Olympics. And actually right now, I believe she's an alternate. So if somebody gets hurt, then she's one of the next in line. But I do think there were one or two other people to me that actually got snubbed that shouldn't have been snubbed, who's playing very, very well this year for the Olympics. So I'm not upset about the situation. Jay, I'm with you. I think the fans of Caitlin Clark is just going a little bit too much over the top. This is not the NBA, or it's not the men's USA team where they, try to go popularity. There's not a lot of chemistry. The women's side, they're based on chemistry. They want you to have experience in the physical international game and understand how that game works. But Caitlin Clark, she'll have plenty of times to get there. But K-Rock, your thoughts?
Yeah, you guys hit everything right on, spot on there. When I first heard it, I thought it was the wrong move by the committee to keep her off, because a lot of things that you guys mentioned, as far as the popularity of the WNBA. I know right now it's as high as it's ever been as far as viewership goes, and the money as well. You got this commissioner cup, if you will, that's coming up. I think it's a $500,000 pot there to the winner. But my initial thought was like, well, how do you keep her off? Because you're trying to promote a product that hasn't been promoted that well, other than up until this year, and she's been a big part of that, for the most part. And I thought leaving her off of there. I don't think she should have been the best 12. I think you should use her for a different reason, if you know what I mean, because you guys call it the Caitlin Crazies, if you will. I never heard that one. I like that one. I don't know if you guys made that up or whoever said that. I like that, by the way. But yeah, the Caitlin Crazies is a great name, because most of them are. But yeah, I mean, yeah, but looking at that roster, who would you put her in front of if we're talking strictly, talent wise, forget the publicity aspect of it. Who would you put her in front of talent wise? You mentioned, I forget who you mentioned, Chelsea Gray.
Yeah.
She didn't play a lot. Brittany Griner didn't play a lot. And maybe Diane Taurasi, but you look at that roster, from top to bottom, and all being healthy, outstanding roster, outstanding.
Yeah.
And I just don't see. I would not put one person in. I would not put her in front of any of those any of those 12 players by any stretch of the imagination. Again, I might be crazy. I might be a Caitlin crazy, but I ain't Caitlin dumb. I ain't dumb. But I get it. But I do get it though. But I can see, like Jay mentioned, it's still Jay's line. I can see both sides of the argument, but my initial reaction, to be honest with you, was, how could you leave her off? And then when you look at that roster and as it's presently constructed, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can see how you leave her off. But I was just looking at it more from a standpoint of the publicity aspect, and using that golden goose and continue to ride her as long as you possibly can to promote this particular product as long as you possibly can. And just hats off. I mean, I'm not mad at it right now. The longer I got to think about it, the more I realize that it's the best move if you're just going to go from like to mention to your point, Britt. They want to be competitive. They're not going out there to sleepwalk, if you will, to play around with their food, if you will, like the men tend to do. But then again, that's what they do. Women, they're a different animal. A female dog is a lot more aggressive than a male dog, for sure. But with that being said, I agree with it. That's
and K-Walk, to your point, like the marketing argument, like that's an argument to be had. Like I think you can make a case for that if that's the direction you want to go. And Chelsea Gray hasn't played at all this year. I mean, is she even going to be healthy in 3 weeks when it's time to start playing, or 4 weeks, whenever it is? So I think you could potentially make that argument. My issue with like I don't even want to put all the Caitlin Clark fans in that box, but the ones that are over the top, I just don't think there's any making them happy. Like if you put her on the roster, then it's like, she should be starting, or she should be playing more, right? Like, so no matter what you do, if you put her on the roster, they're not going to be happy unless she's starting and dropping 30 every night. And other than that, they're going to find something to complain about. So it's hard to please. I don't want to say all of them, because I'm sure some of them kind of feel like we do, but the ones that are over the top, there's no pleasing them.
Here's my thing. Have your focus on Caitlin Clark in the WNBA right now. She dropped 30 the other night, but can she consistently do it? She's on the right path. Don't get me wrong, but let me see you consistently do it against your current competition right now. And then once I see that, okay, now we're going to look into putting you on Team USA, which will be in another 4 years. So that's perfect timing for her. Outside of that, sit down and shut up. Please. And not only that, but you also putting pressure on Caitlin Clark. Like you're applying a lot of pressure on her, and just allow her to enjoy her career, enjoy playing the game that she loved, that she grew up loving. versus her constant? You don't think all of this is getting back to her as well? You know,
Yeah.
she might appreciate people standing up for her, but at the same time, y'all write in the check that she ain't gonna be able to cash. Right. So stop putting the pressure on her right now and just allow her to have fun and enjoy this moment, because we don't know how long it's going to be for her. I hope it's for a very long time, but we're not sure.
Yeah,
So just
great
shush.
point. Great point.
All right, guys. Any other final Caitlin Clark, Team USA thoughts?
No, I think you covered it, Britt. I think what you
Yeah.
said about putting pressure on her, I think that's a real thing. And to her credit, because we all three of us, we like Caitlin Clark.
Mhm.
I think she's handled herself, like we said last week, extremely well. Has said all the right things in the media. I love it. But I think behind closed doors, when she said that they awoke a monster or whatever comment she made, I think that's probably how she really feels. But she said all the right things in the media, to her credit.
And I wonder if she has a rage room built in her house. I wonder if she, 'cause I know I would. I know I would have a rage room in my house.
All right, guys, before we move on, I do want to thank those who are watching this right now and just ask that if you could please go to YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube channel at The Sideline Speaks. Please also like, comment, and share while we are live right now. If you ask us a question or make a comment, we will do our best to answer your question or respond to your comments live on air. So we would greatly appreciate it, as we are slowly but surely growing our channel. All right, let's get to the next topic here, because it is NBA Finals time. My goodness, finally have come to the end, close to the end of a long NBA season. But as we all know, the Celtics are now up 2-0 in NBA Finals against the Dallas Mavs after beating them 105-98 in Game 2. First, before I get to my next question, I just want to get your thoughts on what you're seeing so far between Game 1 and Game 2. Just give me your overall thoughts. Okay, welcome. I'm gonna start with you first.
I just think what you're seeing is Boston, trying to live up to the hype, if you will. They're doing an excellent job on the defensive end. I mean, wow. I mean, this just especially with Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday is cutting off the head of the snake, if you will. Whoever's bringing up the ball, whether it be Kyrie, he's doing an excellent job on Kyrie. Jaylen Brown's doing an excellent job on Luka. I think it's time for the Mavs to come up with someone else bringing the ball up, because if they don't have enough time for Luka to bring the ball up, they don't have enough time for Kyrie to bring the ball up. I mean, they have to find a different way, to get the ball up court and to maximize and get enough time on the shot clock when they're in their set, because by the time Luka gets across a half court or Kyrie gets across the half court, either one of those two guys are taking a shot, and you're not seeing any type of offense, any type of rotation, any type of passing of the ball. It's strictly one-on-one with Luka, and Kyrie's not able to do what he's able to do, and then that throws, if those two are off, then it throws everyone else around them off. So I just think that what we're seeing right now is just a committed Celtics team on the defensive end, and I think that's what I think Jason Tatum is doing an excellent job of kind of playing the Robin, to Jaylen Brown's Batman, because we're starting to see that he's starting to be that facilitator. He'll score when he needs to score, but he's going to play D when he needs to play D, and he's going to rebound as well. So I think Jason Tatum came in not putting a lot of pressure on himself. He's going to go with the flow of the offense, and I think they're doing an excellent job of that without question. I mean, Drew Holiday, I think right now, he's probably the biggest X factor. He and Jaylen Brown are the two guys that right now are just separating themselves from any, especially the MVP the conversation, if you will. I think those two guys are just doing an excellent job. Jaylen Brown on the offensive side of the ball, Drew Holiday on the defensive side of the ball. And I just think that's what we're seeing, just a commitment from the Celtics on the defensive end.
Yeah, I love the consistency that I'm seeing from the Celtics. I mean, let's be real. I'm assuming we all agree that we felt like if the Celtics can be consistent, if they could be dominating in nature, if they can really work together, that there was no team in the entire NBA that could beat this team, because they are stacked, they're deep, and they have some of the best two-way players in the game from almost 1 through 5, if you think about it, right? Yeah. So And for me, I just don't know what the Mavs can do. You know, Luka can have one of his best games. I think he had 30-something points last game. Kyrie probably struggled just a little bit. But that's credit all to what K-Walk said, the Celtics' incredible defense.
Yeah.
I know I texted you guys a couple times. I'm like, man, Drew Holiday's defense is amazing because he is one-on-one with these guys.
Yeah.
It's like he's like, I'm gonna show you something. I'm gonna show you why the Bucks shouldn't have traded me.
Yeah,
You could have been here. You could have been here, but you decided to trade me. And I just think they're just so deep. You know, we already know about JT. We already know about Jaylen Brown. We know about Drew Holiday. We got Derek White over there. You know, I mentioned him before. You know, he could provide you with shooting. He's incredible on the defensive end. I don't know who got credited with that chase down block. I don't know if it was Derek White or Drew Holiday, but the point that they were both right there after making the mistake. So it seems like when they make a mistake, they redeem themselves. And I just don't think the Mavs have enough. It just seems like the Celtics are just way too motivated at this point in time. Now, I'm not sure, is AP going to be playing?
I hadn't heard yet. I know he's gimpy right now, Porzingis. So I'm not sure. I'm not
Breaking
sure.
news.
So that could potentially be a difference maker. I'm not sure. I don't think it is because again, okay, well, I don't know if we're in agreement, but I think the Celtics are just too deep. But maybe that allows the Mavs to get one game in. Because I'm seeing a gentleman's sweep here. I really am. I feel like the Mavs can play their best game and they still won't overcome the Celtics unless the Celtics themselves beat the Celtics, which can happen. But they seem very motivated. But Jay, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, Britt. I think one of the reasons why before game one, I text you guys and said I'm changing my pick to the Celtics is because I like sometimes it's just easy to get caught up in the hype and Dallas got hot and Kyrie is this redemption story and all this stuff. But then you just stop and think, well, wait a minute. Like Boston has been the best team in the league all year long. And I just think that that's going to carry over. So really what we've seen in games 1 and 2 is that the better team is winning. Like, I think they're a better team. Like you said, they're deeper. I think they play as a team better. Like, I just think the cohesiveness, the way they run their offense, the way they defend as a unit, like all those things that they do, Dallas just isn't quite on that level yet. And yes, Luka can be great individually. And yes, Kyrie can be great individually. But just from a team perspective, I just don't think Dallas is there. So for me, it's just been the better team winning games. And I expect that to continue.
Yeah. And I did look it up. It says that KP is questionable. So
yeah.
He is always questionable.
He was huge in game 1. I mean, he came out, on fire game 1. So, I mean, that could make a difference if he doesn't play. I don't know if it'll decide the game, but I think it certainly helps Dallas if he's not on the floor.
Yeah, if he goes out, that would mean Horford will have to step up a little bit more.
Oldford.
And K-Walk. Horford is starting to look old now.
Yeah,
for a long time there, he wasn't looking old. He was moving. He was like, how old is this guy? But now he's starting to slow it down. So let's see what happens. But like we said, they got some talent on the Mavs. I just don't think it could compete with the I was gonna say with the Mavs, with the Celtics.
Yeah,
that too. They're competing with themselves right now too.
We'll see what happens. Any final comments on this? Oh, you know what? I have a question. I'm gonna skip right by it. Will the Mavs win the game?
Okay. Britt, I have them winning one game. I don't think they're going to get swept. I wouldn't even be surprised if they steal game 3. But I think they get one, either game 3 or game 4. But I don't see this thing going past 5.
Okay, what?
I'm going to say, listen, it's not a series until the road team wins the game. So with that being said, I think they get 3. If they can get 3, they can get 4. So, but I'm sticking right now with 3. I say they get 3, and then they have an opportunity to get 4. But I think that the Celtics, they'll ride that crowd. So I want to see what happens in game 3 first
Yeah.
before I make the determination. But I really believe that the Mavs will hold
Okay.
serve on their home court. I think they
Okay.
will.
Then we'll have a series then if that happens.
That's what I'm saying. That's
We'll
what I'm
have a
saying. We have
series.
the series doesn't start until that road team wins the game. So it could be tomorrow night. We will see.
Curveball. Will the NBA say we want to extend this series? Let the refs make the call in the Mavs favors for money signs for
Wow.
dollars.
For conspiracy theorists
Yeah.
like K Walk,
I am a conspiracy theorist.
I wouldn't be surprised, you know. But I'm gonna. I like to try to believe, Britt, that kind of stuff doesn't go on. But man, with the NBA, sometimes it's hard. It's hard.
I'm going to say no, Britt, because I think they want to see more eyes on the WNBA right now. So I'm going to say no. So it'll probably, it'll probably go 6. I did say Mavs in 6, but I'm kind of changing my opinion there for obvious reasons, the way the teams have looked. But I'm just saying to the Mavs, can you get PJ Washington? Can you get more involved brother? Can you get more aggressive? Can you be more aggressive? You're too big for a guard and you're too quick for a big man. So PJ Washington has to step up. I know it's hard for him to get the ball because it's kind of like Luka. Kyrie to Luka to Kyrie, that type deal. I know it's hard to get the ball, but go ahead and step in the passing lane, steal one, and take over if you have to.
Britt, what did you think about Jason Kidd saying that Jaylen Brown's the best player on the team? Did you feel like he meant that? Did you feel like he was just trying to get in Tatum's head? What did you think about that?
I actually think he meant that because he's not the first person who said it. Drew Holiday came out and said that he thinks Jaylen Brown is the best player also on the team, and he's on the team, so he's in the locker room. I think it depends. I think it could kind of go hand in hand with these guys. I think pure talent wise, I'm going to probably always choose Jason Tatum.
Okay.
I think what impacts Jason Tatum is his inconsistencies at time. But I just think when JT is on, he's really hard to slow down, like extremely hard to slow down. And trust me, he's about to get paid. If you think his agent is going to allow Jaylen Brown to have a better contract than Jason Tatum, it's going to be very interesting. But I mean, we'll see. The Finals MVP is coming up. I do think that right now, Jaylen Brown is on a mission, and I think it was because he was snubbed from the NBA All Team. So because he's been playing fantastic ever since then.
Yeah. Walk, you got any thoughts on that? Like, which one of those guys is Batman? Which one is Robin?
Well, in this series right now, from to the Eastern Conference Finals and to the finals up until this point, it's Jaylen Brown is Batman and Jason Tatum is Robin, and I think that's what the plan was to come in. I mean, come into the series as that. I think they're comfortable with what's going on because Jaylen Brown wasn't that guy in the regular season, and that could be the reason why, Britt, you mentioned he wasn't in the first team All NBA because he was kind of just in cruise control, if you will, let Jason Tatum go out and be that guy. But I think they're comfortable with what's going on right now, and I don't think either one has a problem with playing, playing Robin to the Batman. But I do think that right now, I think if you put them on separate teams, who would you rather have? If you're posing that question, I'm going to wow, that's hard to say. But if I had to choose with a gun to my head, I'll take Jaylen Brown, man. I really will. I think he plays just a little bit better defense. Only thing about him, man, his free throws scare me, man. He's not consistent with making those free throws. That's the only thing about it. But yeah, I just think that when he's locked in, he's probably the better of the two. He doesn't cry for the fouls and things of that nature. So I'll take Jaylen Brown.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, you definitely got a point there. He does not cry. JT he has all the talent in the world, but he cries a lot. I thought I had a final question for you guys pertaining to this. Oh, yes, here it is. It's just coming off the top of my dome like I'm a rapper. Ha. Bars. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I thought you were gonna make that rhyme somewhere in there.
No. It's funny to me because I'm a little disappointed in the Mavs only because I felt like they could have took advantage of the dislike for Kyrie Irving. And And I just kind of feel like they're not. And I know Luka is the star, but it's just like I would go in that locker room, like, you know what, Kyrie, I need you to really step it up. They don't like you here, so show them why they, just trying to encourage them to get them really going. I just feel like Kyrie's been lacking just a little bit. And granted, it's credit to the Celtics' incredible defense. But I kind of feel like they could play off of that. You know how you kind of use some motivation in your locker room? Play off of something. They need to play off of something because this is not working on whatever's going on. So I guess right now, Celtics fans are up 1-2. I'm sorry, Kyrie, none. But we'll see what happens going forward.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's move on because this one was interesting. The LA Lakers have been searching for a head coaching job. I'm sorry, a head coach for their vacancy for a while now, actually, ever since firing Darvin Ham. We heard it was JJ Redick, and then they became extremely interested into UConn's head coach, Zadani Hurley, right?
Yep.
So I guess they met with him this past weekend. And apparently it came out he decided he completely turned down the Lakers job after they were offering him about $70 million. Was this the right decision on Danny Hurley's part? Jay, I'm going to come to you first.
Britt, I do think it was the right decision. When the news first broke, I think I texted the group that he just feels more like a college coach to me. And when you watch the way that he kind of conducts himself on the sideline and the way that he interacts and coaches his players, I just don't know that flies in the NBA. Now, not to say that he couldn't adjust his style, but that's number one. He feels more like a college coach to me. Number two, he's an East Coast guy. Like his family's from Jersey City, New York. Now he's in Connecticut. Like, I think that matters. Like his family is there. Are you really going to move your entire family all the way to the other coast? I think that has a lot to do with it too. And then the other thing, like, I just don't know. Like, I know you guys talk about like delusional Cowboy fans a lot. Like, I think the Lakers front office might be a little delusional as to what they still are, right? Like, I don't know if that job is as desirable as they think it is. And then you always have to factor the LeBron factor in. Yes, you're going to coach one of the best players that we've ever seen, but you're also kind of coaching a guy that coaches himself, runs the team, calls all the offensive plays. Like if you're a coach, you're not getting any credit if you win it, and you're going to get all the blame if it doesn't work out. So it didn't really feel like a great situation for Hurley. And then I know it's $70 million, but in LA, like, with the California taxes and stuff like that, it ain't as good as it sounds. So I think he's doing all right at UConn.
Yeah, I was with you, Jay. You completely took my point on that. That's $70 million. You got to pay your agents and you got to pay this person. That $70 million may end up being like 45, something crazy.
California taxes are going to hit him real hard. So.
Very, very hard. But no, I also think he made the right decision, and it comes down to basically what you said. I think for me, it's control. College coaches have more control over their entire organization or entire team, entire organization. Let's go back to organization over everything. They are in charge of everything. The NBA, you're dealing with grown men. They want to do what they want to do half the time. You hope they listen to you. And again, like you said, Jay, they got LeBron James who coaches himself. You got guidelines you got to follow. You got a front office you have to listen to. In college, it's not like that. You may go back and forth, maybe like an athletic director, but you're basically in charge of the entire program. And then another thing I don't think people are really talking about as much, Anthony Davis. Will this man stay healthy for an entire season? Am I coming in coaching a great talent, but he's never on the court? So it could be frustrating. Plus, you have a lot of young talent who I actually thought he would be great for and helping to develop. But like you guys said, he's very competitive and he shows his competitive nature on the sideline, and he's not scared to voice his opinion. And I just think that some college coaches don't really like the fact that they have to kind of conduct themselves in a certain way or restrain themselves from being who they really are as a coach, where which is what they can do in college. They're allowed to do in college. But K-Walk, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm glad he stayed because not just because of the money. I don't think the money was enough. I mean, I think if you leave the situation that Danny Hurley's in and you go to the Lakers, I think that would have made him like what, the 10th, not even the top 10 highest paid
Yeah.
coach in the NFL. I mean, the NFL, NBA. And I think that is where you want to be at. I think you go to that situation, to leave that situation to go to that situation, which is really it's not at the most secure situation because, as you mentioned, Britt, AD's, we call him with Anthony Davis. We don't know if he's going to be there. LeBron's aging, so we don't know how many. You don't know how many years LeBron has there. And as you mentioned, LeBron he wants to be that coach. He wants to be the coach of the team, regardless of who you bring in. And I just love, as a college basketball fan, I just love that now we can get. I hope we can get back to those days when we had the Dean Smiths, the Coach K's. John Calipari is no longer there, but those coaches who have been with their respective programs for a long period of time, and they can build a name for themselves. And I think UConn, it's a blue blood. We know that it's a blue bloods are a big time school, and then he has an opportunity to win 3 in a row, which hasn't been done since John Wooden and the UCLA team back in the day. So. And they're favored to win it this year. So why not go? Why would you give that up and go out west, like Jay mentioned? Uproot your family to take them all the way out there for that drama. Because that's what it is. It's just another movie set. In LA, if you will. So yeah, I mean, I'm happy he turned it down. A lot of people are saying it's because of the money. I don't think it was because of the money, man. I just think that he really enjoys what he's doing. He really has a good thing there. And on top of all that, he gets free wings for life at a restaurant in Connecticut. So can't beat that. You can pay me in free wings all you want to, but for life. But yeah, I think it's a great decision for Dan Hurley, and for his family, and for the program as well. And then those kids are going to be motivated. Those young men are going to be motivated to try to get 3 in a row. I don't think they'll do it. I think my Tar Heels will pull down the nets, or will cut down the nets. That's a topic for another day.
Yeah, Jay, you alluded to, Jay, with the Lakers fan. It's going to be a lot of pressure in LA for him to get it done now. Lakers fans, they don't play. They're used to winning for so many years, and they haven't won. I mean, they won the bubble ring.
Yeah.
If you want to count that or not, I know most people don't count it. Some do.
I would have counted it if my Heat would have won it. I would have counted it. Jimmy Butler didn't get hurt.
But like they got that little asterisk mark on that ring. But and then prior to that, they haven't won. I don't know how long it was. It was a lot of years.
Since Kobe, right?
Yeah, Kobe,
so,
and I don't remember
like
what year that
09,
was.
maybe something like that.
Right. So it's going to be a lot of pressure, and I just think he's in a better position at UConn. He could do what he wants there. So I have a follow-up question with this. So because Dan Hurley has opted out, he said no way. Who do they go to now? Do they go back and look at a JJ Redick? Do they go back and look at I don't know, maybe they try to go out. I don't know if Mark Jackson or somebody like that is still interested. Who do they go to now? Like if you know of any other options that are out there, anybody could take this because it's a random question.
Go ahead, K-Walk.
LeBron. Go LeBron. Make LeBron that guy, man. Just make him a player. Make him a player / coach. Back in the day, like Bill Russell. Way back in the day. I mean, no. All seriousness, I just don't know what names out there. You bring in JJ Redick. You mentioned JJ Redick. I think he was the hottest name going in. Was the biggest name going in before Dan Hurley's name surfaced. So I think you either go with him. I know you mentioned Mark Jackson. I think Mark Jackson is bitter, man. I think the whole situation that took place in Golden State, I don't know if he wants to coach again. I mean, I could be wrong, and I don't think you want to deal with the drama in LA. So if they bring in a coach, they have to bring in a coach who's going to be a yes man to LeBron, and whoever they bring in there as well. You know, if it's a young coach or a coach with no experience, use that, take it. You know, take the job and use it as a resume builder. You know, if you will, and do your best job. Coach that team to your best of your ability. We all know it's all out there that the LeBron is ultimately going to be the guy who decides that comes in there because he wants to be the guy that calls the shots. We know that, but LeBron can't have that title as a head coach and a player. I mean, he could, but it's highly unlikely that's going to happen. So with that being said, there's no name that sticks out to me other than JJ Redick. After you get past JJ Redick, it's just a crapshoot, and it's going to probably be a name that we've never heard of, or that it's I just can't see. I don't have anyone in mind other than JJ Redick. I think you might as well at this point, why not go with JJ Redick?
Yeah. Okay. Well, go ahead, Britt. Go ahead.
I was going to say somebody just popped in my mind, but I think this would be in a situation if LeBron, who's on a player option, decides to leave this year. I'm not sure if he will be there if LeBron is there, because I feel like they would clash a little bit, and they might not. But Sam Cassell, I've been wanting him to get a head coaching job somewhere, and I think he will be a great,
too old school for LeBron.
Right, and that's the thing. If LeBron leaves, I think he will be a good option, especially for the younger players. He's a hard-nosed, old school type of head coach, but he knows the game of basketball. And I've seen him how to develop players like a Tyrese Maxey. I've seen him getting in the face of a James Harden, not in a negative way, but just to challenge them and to motivate them a lot more. I feel like he would be potentially a good option as well. I just don't want to see JJ Redick. I'm just hoping I do not see JJ Redick get hired. I just don't think he'll do, and I could be wrong, I just don't think he'll be a great coach. But Jay?
Yeah, Britt, well, I agree with you on that. Like, I know there's a lot of hype around JJ, but I don't know. Like, there's something about that just feels like maybe it's not going to work. I was just one of the reasons I told K Walk to go first. I was trying to search a little bit and see if anything was buzzing around. There's an article in the New York Post saying that Jay Wright would be a candidate, Villanova coach. I don't really see it. I kind of for all the same reasons Hurley wouldn't do it. I feel like the same way about Jay Wright with that. So I don't know. To me, it just doesn't feel like a winning situation. Like I said, if they win it all, LeBron's going to get all the media attention. And if they lose it, the coach is going to get fired.
Yeah,
I mean, we got a past history of that. So if you're a high level coach or a high level college coach, why would you, to me, it's not worth the risk of taking a Lakers job for a year or two and then getting fired. So I don't know, Britt. It looks like they're back to square one on this. It's going to be interesting to see if they can find a decent candidate that wants to take the job.
It's gonna be very interesting, and I'm gonna kill all the Jay Wright. Yes, we want Jay Wright. No, that's not happening. If I can recall, Jay Wright came out and said, I don't know if he exactly said this, but something that he is not leaving the East Coast. His family is here, right here in PA, Philadelphia area, and he will only really coach for one NBA team or somewhere close by, and one of those teams were the Philadelphia Sixers. I'm talking about the Eagles. Look,
coach those Eagles, man. Coach those Eagles up, man.
The Philadelphia Eagles or somewhere in there. So, and Sixers, Knicks, whoever else, they all have head coaches. So I think he'll be on TV for a lot longer.
And we're gonna, and then I hope, I was gonna say we hope to hear it soon, because the draft is in 2 weeks from today, I think it is, or it's whenever it is, within 2 weeks. So you want a head coach in it, because you got to know what his philosophy is and what they want to do, because that's going to obviously dictate what player you're going to bring in here. And of course LeBron, if he's going to sign his player option as well. So they have to do something quick. I don't know if they put all their eggs in the basket with Danny Hurley. If they did, that's just the Lakers, leaking it up again. So I just don't, it's going to be interesting to see who they bring in, without question.
Definitely, for sure. All right, guys. Well, whoever they bring in, I just hope they don't win anymore. All right, tired of seeing them win.
Yeah.
Although they haven't won in years. It's time for them to start it over. Right. All right, guys. I want to get to my last topic, and it's another video. I unplugged the one screen from my side here. I'm hoping it works. If not, I'll probably just cut it off halfway through because I know that could be a little annoying when technology is just not operating right. But I wanted to get in this topic, and it's about the one and only Stephen A. Smith. This man had a lot to say about Will Smith. I know this is not exactly about sports, but I just wanted to bring this in.
Sure,
about
it is.
Will
We'll turn it into sports. We're gonna make it about sports. Believe you me.
Right. He had a lot to say about Will Smith in this Bad Boys movie that just came out and actually did pretty good.
Great
pretty
movie, by the way.
Good.
Watched it.
You seen it already?
I saw Saturday. Yeah, I saw it.
You
on
went
Saturday.
to the movies?
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah, K Walk had a movie date. I saw he posted it on
Facebook.
Facebook.
I posted on Facebook.
Had a little movie date.
Yeah,
I didn't see it yet. Don't tell me about it.
Oh, wow. I don't do that, bro. I don't do that. I'm just saying it's must see. That's why I will tell you that much.
Okay, well, I said that to you and anybody who's watching want to start putting stuff in comments. So that now,
no, I don't do that, bro. Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah, don't nobody say nothing. I don't care if I don't watch the movie until 2027. Don't tell me nothing.
I'm gonna tell you about this one part. The one part I was good.
There's a statute of limitations on it, Brett. You don't get to 2027.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, you know.
Why not? I don't hear nothing. All right, guys. So I'm gonna play this clip and then we'll come back and I just want to get your guys' thought on what I'm gonna be nice. Stephen A. had to say. Hopefully it plays right. Let's see.
Huge Martin Lawrence fan, and believe it or not, I still will never stop being a Will Smith fan. I'm not surprised at all that pre-sales have simmered. It wouldn't surprise me at all if it ultimately plummeted once all is said and done. And you know why I feel that way, ladies and gentlemen? Because I think that I'm speaking not for everybody, not for most, but at the very least, millions of people out there. When I say what I'm about to say, I'm not nearly as interested as seeing Will Smith in the movies than I am of seeing him doing an actual sit-down interview with somebody to explain why he did what he did. Normally, under certain circumstances, such as this, as egregious as this was, as much as Will Smith deserved to get his ass kicked for what he did, being a bully, somebody that's 60 pounds at least heavier than Chris Rock, I don't think he would have done this to Mike Tyson. I don't think he would have done this to Jamie Foxx. I don't think he would have done this to Snoop Dogg or 50 Cent or somebody like that. He knew who he was doing it to. And that's the personification of a bully. And in my opinion, he deserved to get his ass kicked because of that. Back then. But it's not just about Chris Rock. See, as upset as I am, and still remain to that degree, that's because Chris Rock is my friend and I know him. But that ain't the only reason. The biggest issue that I have a problem with, and I'm not saying or advocating any kind of violence like Will Smith deserves that now that all of this time has passed. But at the very least, the black community, especially, deserves seeing Will Smith sit down. I don't care if it's with the Breakfast Club. I don't care if it's with Oprah. Because you know it ain't going to be me, right? You ain't going to sit down with me. Because some questions going to get asked, okay? But I don't care who it's with. You got to provide an explanation as to why that happened. It can't be that you went to therapy and you learned the error of your ways, or you've addressed some of the demons that were plaguing you mentally and emotionally and spiritually. That's not good enough. And even though we weren't the ones that were slapped literally, ladies and gentlemen, figuratively, the black community was slapped.
All right, I'm gonna cut it off there because it's starting to get on my nerves. But there was another part to it. You know, it was about another minute or so where he responded the next day, just explaining kind of what he meant.
What he always does. What he always does.
Right, because he got a lot of I guess
Yeah.
a lot of people disagree. But I just want to get your thoughts on Mr. Stephen A. Smith and what he had to say about Will Smith and this slap that occurred about 2 years ago or so. K-Walk, I'm gonna save you for last because you look like you was itching to say something earlier. So I'm curious to know what you got to say. But Jay, go ahead, take it first.
Yeah, look, like you said, Britt, the slap was 2 years ago, and when it happened, we talked about it, and we all agreed that it was awful, right? I mean, we all said it was terrible. Like we were on Will Smith pretty hard for that. We all agreed. But does that mean like the man should never work again? Should he never be able to make another movie? Like, I mean, and from Stephen A's perspective, saying like he owes the community, the black community, down and an explanation. Why? Like, he owes Chris Rock an explanation and an apology. Maybe that's already happened. You know, he owes his family an apology and an explanation. He doesn't owe me an explanation. Like, Stephen A is just so full of himself that he thinks like he is the voice on all matters. And that's what annoys me the most about him. Look, me and my wife were talking about this the other day. I was like, wow, like, because I saw a video of Will Smith in a theater, like he had a mask on and he was just sitting there watching the movie. And then afterwards he took it off and he was talking to everybody. And I was like, look at all the love that Will Smith is getting. I was like, you know, he made a really nice bounce back after that horrible moment. And I was a little bit surprised at how much everyone was embracing him, but I'm good with it. I'm okay with it. Like, he's got to work that out with Chris Rock, but he doesn't owe me anything. And to suggest that people shouldn't see the movie or people's like, or he hopes it tanks, like, that's just silly. So it's on brand for Stephen A. Britt, but I couldn't disagree with those comments more.
Yeah, I wanted to play the second part as well, but because there was a point, I guess, there I was going to kind of make. I don't know if it's going to sound weird, but I agree with you, Jay. Like, he's taking it way too far. Are we not allowed to make mistakes? This man has literally lived a life of perfection. I mean, we don't know his personal life, but he has displayed a life of perfection. And half of y'all was waiting for him to mess up somewhere. Like, man, he's actually normal. He's one of us. The man made a mistake 2 years ago. He apologized for that mistake. He got punished for that mistake. Why do we have to crucify this man for the rest of his life? Right. Like, we no longer have to crucify him. I'm pretty sure all of us have made some sort of crazy mistake. Yes, it was on a much larger scale because of his celebrity status and because of the major platform that the Oscars held. But so what? We no longer care about that slap. That slap means nothing to me at all. I still like Will Smith. I still have respect for Will Smith. I'm still going to watch Will Smith's movies. And if you got a problem with that, then take it up with yourself, because you got a problem with yourself. Yeah. Like, that, it just makes no sense to me. I know in the second part, not necessarily, but he kind of weighed in. What does this do for the black community when it comes to how basically white people see us? What? Like, we not, these comments just don't make any sense, because like, we're allowed grace, you know, give us grace. And personally, this is what irritates me sometimes, even within our own community. Like, we beat each other down so much from one mistake. Why don't you say to this brother, like, all right, well, you made a mistake, but guess what? I'm gonna support you, regardless, support you and help you to be even better. I'm not going to stick on this one thing that happened 18,000 years ago. That's what it feels like now. We're long past it. And Stephen A, just, I don't know. Can I say grow up on this? But I just need his mindset just to grow up and mature. I know he's a grown man, but sometimes I just really question a lot of things. But K-Walk, what's your thoughts on this? I'm getting more and more mad as I'm talking about it.
Yeah, and rightfully so, Brett, because when you think about it, I mean, Stephen A. You can use that A, which I don't know what it stands for, but I know what it stands for. Right for me, right now, what I'm thinking about. You know what, man?
Assets.
Yeah. Stephen, all that. Stephen's all that. But yeah, I mean, when we talk about Will Smith, he's sitting down. He owes Chris Rock an apology. He needs to sit down with his family, whatever. Who's to say he didn't do that?
Right.
Why? Because it wasn't broadcast, Stephen
Right.
A. Because you didn't see it or we didn't see it doesn't mean it didn't happen, Stephen A. And as far as him, owing the black community an apology, Stephen A, come on, man. Like, listen, let's talk about HBCU coverage, Stephen A. When Coach Prime was at Jackson State, we had coverage every single day on First Take, the number one show of all time, in your opinion, the number one show. Talk about First Take.
Talk to him.
HBCU Wednesdays. You were at an HBCU campus every single Wednesday, Stephen A. You went to Winston-Salem, HBCU. You were talking about it from every single day when Coach Prime was there. As soon as Coach Prime goes to Colorado, where's the HBCU coverage? Where's the HBCU coverage? Stephen A., you owe the black community an explanation, son. Listen, I have a show on Wednesday nights. Sports Talk with Kate Walker and East Scott. Never had it so good. Sports Radio, 7 p.m. Wherever you get your podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Shameless plug. Shameless plug. But nonetheless, we open our show up with HBCU talk. I did not go to an HBCU, ladies and gentlemen. I went to Temple University. My co-host, however, did go to an HBCU, Grambling. But we still open it up with HBCU talk, Stephen A. So if you want to talk about owing the black communities an explanation, you're the one, son. You're the one that needs to do that. And as far as watching the movie, Stephen A., if you sat down and watched that movie, you weren't going to miss any. That movie wasn't going to miss any money from you because you would have seen it for free anyway. So we know that first and foremost. So you want to go. You're going to watch that movie and I guarantee you probably already watched it. You probably watched it. I know you did. But nonetheless, yeah, Stephen A., man, I just think that you're just full of yourself, man. And you go out there and you tell people how to live their lives. You tell not just mediocre people. You tell millionaires, movie stars, and to tell them what they should and should not do. But you know what, Stephen A., just because you didn't see it doesn't mean it wasn't done. So how do you know? Because Chris Rock may not have talked about it, or Will Smith, or it wasn't a Netflix special, it wasn't a sit down or anything like that. It doesn't mean it didn't happen, bro. So let that man live, like everyone has said on this show. Let that man live. Let him do his job, man. And by the way, I'm just going to tell you, I'm not giving anything away. The movie was a banger.
Yeah, and just real quick, Brett, like K-Walk, I agree 1,000%, man. You hit that out of the park. But one of the things that annoys me about like what Stephen A. said, like saying you owe it to the black community, like number one, the black community does not all think the exact same. Like, why are you saying something like we're all on the same page about this? Because clearly we're not. Right. That's number one. Like, we're not a monolith. We don't all think the exact same thing at all times on all issues. So stop making it seem like, oh, the black community, because we don't do that to other communities. We don't act like the white community is on the same page all the time. So stop. Let's stop doing that, number one. Number two, okay, like you want to boycott Will Smith because of the slap, but you'll go see other movies with people that have done other things that are just as bad or worse that maybe we just don't know about, but we don't want to talk about that. And then just for stating the obvious, he said, I don't think he would have did this to Mike Tyson. Well, who would have? Ain't nobody crazy. Ain't nobody slapping Iron Mike, Stephen A. So I just had to get that out, Brett.
And Jamie Foxx. He put Jamie Foxx and Mike Tyson in the same conversation.
I know, right? Come on.
Yeah, that just on that, like, Stephen A. wouldn't even challenge Mike Tyson. Like, let's be real, but that's another thing here. Why do people, and I think it's because it's his media persona or his celebrity, and I'm talking about Will Smith, him being the Fresh Prince, the rapper that doesn't curse, this clean cut guy. Do we not, and I'm not condoning violence at all, but did we forget that Will Smith trained as a fighter for months and months,
Mm-hmm.
maybe even years for Muhammad Ali. He basically became Muhammad Ali.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we talking like Will Smith is a punk?
Right.
We were sitting there. Stephen A is talking like this man is a punk because he's of standard, or the way he carries himself is in a very mature, non-violent way. Let's tone it down. Don't disrespect the man acting like he's a punk or anything. Because Stephen A, odds are, if you in this predicament, if you are up in Will Smith's face, I highly doubt you would do anything talking about this man deserves to get his butt kicked.
He definitely would have slapped Stephen A. That's for
And
sure.
For real.
Stephen A definitely would have sued him too.
Right. Like, so let's cut it out. But K-Walk, well said. I agree. He does owe the Black community an explanation about that, and not just that, about what he talks about when it comes to women's basketball as well, because he be talking slick as heck. So Stephen A, chill out. Actually, just chill out and calm down. All right, guys, we're going to head into break. When we come back, Jay is going to take over. That was a fun little topic. I had to throw that in there, although it's not quite sports related. But again, those who are watching this, thank you so much for watching us. We greatly appreciate your support. Please hit that like button. We would greatly appreciate it. And if you're watching on maybe X or Twitch as well, we appreciate it if you go over to YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, please share our channel as well. And then again, if you guys comment or ask us a question live, we will do our best to respond to that comment or question live on air. All right, guys, we'll be right back. About a 20-second break, not long. When we come back, again, Jay will take over. But you guys are watching The Sideline Speaks with myself, Brittany Jones, alongside Jason Collins and Kevin Walker, right here on Never Had It So Good Sports Media Network.
You're inside Never Had It So Good Sports Radio with Princess Cooper, Tim Moore, David the Duck Riley, Jason Collins, Shoshana Cook, Brittany Jones, Travis McGee, Eric Scott, and Kevin Walker. We make it easy to talk sports.
All right, welcome back to The Sideline Speaks. I'm sorry, I was trying to read something in the Never Had It So Good thread. I forgot I was taking over.
Yeah, I just read that too, Jay.
Yeah, it's all good. Look, I don't have a ton tonight, Britt. You hit on all the hot topics, and that's kind of what we're trying to do going forward. But there is one thing NFL news wise that I do feel like is noteworthy to talk about, and that's Mike Tomlin getting an extension. I think he's extended now through 2027. And K-Walk, I've seen comments from good, they should, he's a winner, he deserves to be rewarded, to the Steelers are afraid they're rewarding mediocrity. He hasn't won many playoff games lately. Like, so I've seen both ends of the spectrum, people killing the decision and people praising the decision. Where are you on Mike Tomlin's extension?
Well, this is going to sound like I'm a homer, but I'm not. I'm a 49ers fan for new viewers. So but as an African American coach, I'm all for it, and a lot of people will say, well, that's the only reason why you're on board with it. But that's not the case. You look at his resume. I mean, you talk about the guy has been there 17 years. I think this is going to be the 18th year, and he has not lost. He has not had a losing season in his career. He has 2 Super Bowls. And I believe he has 2 Super Bowls, at least one. And I know that, this quarterback situation hasn't been in his favor for the last few years. And we all know that the quarterback position, you get a franchise quarterback, then, it sets the table for you. It's hard to find, these franchise quarterbacks. You can't just go out there and shake a tree and a franchise quarterback is going to fall in your lap or fall in your hands, if you will. I think you just look at the resume, everything he's done, class act. I mean, just handled every situation professionally, man. And you got to ask yourself, I don't know if you're going to pose this question, he's a Hall of Famer in my book. Question, I guess the big question is he a first ballot Hall of Famer? But I think Art Rooney, The Rooney family has stuck by this guy, and goes back to when I talked about Danny Hurley and college coaches as well. We rarely see these coaches be in one position or one team, one program, one organization. As long as, and it's rare, as long as these guys have been. And I miss that, man. I'm missing the Belichick's in New England. The Holmgrens in Green Bay, and obviously Tomlin and Pittsburgh and so forth and so on. So I think he's rewarded well. I think it's deservingly so. Mediocrity, I mean, well, listen, there's a lot of, you get rid of a coach like this, mediocrity is a lot better than you being 0-17 or 1-16 or whatever the case may be. This guy wins. He's always going to have at least a winning record, and he's always going to put you in the hunt of either winning division or getting into the playoffs. So you should be happy with the consistency of this guy being there. So Steelers, don't turn your nose up at this decision, because just like I mentioned, there's no franchise quarterbacks out there just falling out of trees. There's no franchise or Hall of Fame coaches out there falling out of the trees either.
Yeah, and it's very much on brand for the Steelers. I think they have 3 coaches in the last 50 years, like with Chuck Noll, Cowher,
and you can name them. And that's the thing about it. You can
right?
name them.
So it's very much on brand for the Steelers. But Britt, what were your thoughts when he got the extension?
I mean, K-Walk kind of said it all for me. I thought good. I'm a huge Mike Tomlin fan. Wish he was the Eagles head coach. But no, I think the Steelers have always been a great organization, trustworthy organization. And like you guys said, they hold on to their coaches. They keep them, they trust them, they keep them in charge of everything. And if you look at the organization, Mike Tomlin runs a well-oiled machine over there.
Yeah.
And like K-Walk said, they're basically a quarterback away. They're a franchise quarterback away, and they're trying to figure that out now. But look where they get without that quarterback, or look where he gets without with such young talent on that team. Other teams are trying to make trades and, trying to put the pieces together. The Ravens had to go out, get Derrick Henry, hope that puts them over the top, or other things like that. The Steelers are like, no, we're going to draft. We're going to develop for the most part. If they're young enough, we might get them in free agency. I know they just picked up, I believe it was Patrick Queen, as their linebacker. But you trust him. Mike Tomlin gets you on his team. That means he trusts you to do your job. And I don't know. They did great. That's all I'm going to say. They did great. You keep the best coaches around, and he's one of the better coaches in the NFL. And that's point blank and period.
And he's no nonsense either, Jay.
Absolutely not.
Yep, absolutely no nonsense. And you're right. Like, for the people that were disappointed with the extension, like, if you're not going to have Tomlin coach, well, who is? Like, you better make sure you've got somebody else.
And he's only 52 years old. He's only 52 years old. Come on, huh?
He looks about 45. No, I mean, look, if they want Nick Sirianni, I would be glad to take a Mike Tomlin over here.
So no, I agree with you guys. I think it was the right decision. Keep the continuity, keep the consistency. And as you guys mentioned, now that he's got a quarterback, or at least we think, we'll see how Russ does. And if not, Justin Fields will quickly be inserted. Let's see what he can do. Now, K-Walk, the downside of this is he plays in what we could argue is the best division in football, with Cincinnati, Cleveland, and then obviously the Ravens. I know it's early, so I'm kind of putting you in a bit of a bad spot here, but how do you project them doing this year? How do you see things faring for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Yeah, they're going to be right in the mix, man. Like you mentioned, it's arguably the best division in football. I mean, they're right there, and I think they're going to have another winning season. And I think they're going to be right there, and they're going to have an opportunity to win the division. I don't think they will win it, but I think they'll be right there on the cusp. I mean, maybe 1 or 2 games that may cost them, or maybe 1 or 2 games that may help a Ravens, who I think is favored to win the division. I think with the with the addition of Derrick Henry, as Britt kind of alluded to, it kind of pushed them over the top, the favorites. And then you still got, Cincinnati with, Joe Burrow there, and Cleveland. You have some pieces there, but you just don't know what the consistency is going to be there with Deshaun Watson there. But I like them in the mix, Jade. If they were to win the division, I would not be surprised. But I think they have to. I think in my opinion, I really think they have to make Justin Fields their quarterback right away, man. If they're going to be that guy, if he's going to be their guy, they have to do it right away.
Yeah, I just like some of the other stuff that he brings to the table with his legs that I think could be really helpful for them. Britt, a lot of the criticism has been they haven't been successful in the playoffs. I know, again, tough spot. It's early. But do you see the Steelers winning at least one playoff game this year?
I think it depends on on that matchup.
Yeah, it's tough.
Because I could see them potentially getting a wild card matchup as well. I think there is a lot of talent on that team, young talent on that team. And it's like we said, with an incredible head coach that will surprise a lot of us. Because last year, did they make the playoffs last year? Or they just missed.
They just missed it.
They just missed it, but they missed it with a winning record, and a lot of people had them having a losing record. So it depends. If they get that wild card spot, which team are you going against? I don't think you got enough to beat the Chiefs at all.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you'll have enough to beat a team like Houston. Who else is up there? I don't know. Buffalo.
Yeah, Buffalo might take a step back. Yeah,
right.
They might not
see them. Right. They might take a 1 year, 2 year step back. They got rid of a lot of talented pieces, or veteran pieces, I should say. And they're really, really young right now. So I'm not too sure about Buffalo, but if they somehow could play someone in their own division, which odds are that's slim, I can actually see them beating Cleveland and what's the other team?
Cincinnati.
Because I'm a little concerned about Cincinnati. I don't think that cohesiveness is there right now, and I don't know what the heck is going to happen with T. Higgins or Jamar Chase. I feel like they're going to pay Jamar Chase, but what's going to happen with T. Higgins? I don't know.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
Yeah.
A lot offensive line, and the offensive line has always been a question mark.
If Burrow gets hurt, forget about it. So a lot of unanswered questions for sure. Last one, guys. I don't know if you guys saw this, and I did not put it in the notes. So if you didn't, it's cool. But Aaron Rodgers was absent from mandatory camp, and I guess he let him know. But then Coach was on there talking, saying that it was an unexcused absence, and so big deal or no big deal. K-Walk, thoughts on Rodgers missing some of the mandatory camp?
Big deal. If it's you said it's an unexcused absence,
yeah,
right?
Coach said it was unexcused. He said he knew he wasn't going to be there, but it's unexcused, and he is subject to like the fine policy or however they fine players for not being there. So he is going to be subject to however that shakes down as well.
Okay, so he's going into a cave to meditate somewhere. So that's an unexcused absence. Okay, I get it. So no, you know what? A big deal. I'm going to it's Aaron Rodgers. So, it's always a big deal when he's not there, So I'm going to say it's a big deal because of the name and because what he's got to come back from last year and what the expectations of this team is, with all these weapons that they got. Now, Hassan Reddick is requesting an extension as well. The guy that they just traded for from the Eagles. So these guys are all trying to get on the same page right now as soon as you possibly can, because the mission is Super Bowl or bust. That's the goal right now. That's what they're talking about. So him being absent, for whether it's excused or unexcused, is a big deal in my opinion, Jay. So big deal.
Yeah, and we were critical last week, or at least I know I was, of Lamar Jackson missing some of the voluntary stuff. So, Britt, big deal that Rodgers isn't there, or not too big of a deal as we're in early to mid June right now?
I think it's a big deal. I feel like it's becoming a cycle, starting all over again. What we've seen with the Packers and those young guys, you're the leader of this team.
Yeah.
You're the trendsetter of this team. you're probably going to earn a respect just because of, you have a Super Bowl, your legacy from being a great, I guess, quarterback in this league, not necessarily the top quarterback, but one of the best quarterbacks in this league. And I just feel like you're starting off on the wrong foot. Now, for whatever reason, he's out. I'm not exactly sure why he's out, but it does sound like it's I'm gonna go meditate up in the trees with the birds on a little branch somewhere, right? Or be like Smokey and Friday. He was in a bird cage, high as a kite in a bird cage. Like I just don't know. I just don't think you're just not setting a positive light right now. Like it's just, I don't know. And I think what's even bigger deal, K-Walk, you just alluded to, Hassan Reddick's not showing up at mandatory mini camps at all because he wants a new contract. That's starting to look like a good trade for the Eagles right now. I didn't think it was.
Yeah.
But to me, that's just looking like maybe the Jets front office, there might be a slight disconnect there because you should have known that he wants that contract before
you even say, you got to extend him.
So I don't think any other team in the NFL or any other good team with a good front office, a quality front office, would have made that trade if they knew he wanted a contract. So I think both of them are a big deal, and it's not starting off right now.
Yeah. And K-Walk said Super Bowl or bust. I'm gonna just go ahead and call it a bust right now. I do not believe in the Jets at all. Like all the hype around them and all this is our time. Like I don't believe it. I don't believe it at all. I don't think they're going to be very good. I don't even know if Rodgers is going to be healthy all year. I'm not a believer in the Jets at all. So we'll see. We'll see.
Hey, let me ask you this, Jay. Let me ask you this. Aaron Rodgers gets hurt in the first game, a season-ending injury, knock on wood, or he wins a Super Bowl. What's the biggest story?
The bigger story?
The bigger story.
Ooh, man. If the Jets win the Super Bowl, man, they're good. There's going to be some insufferable Jets fans, man. I think I'm going to say the Super Bowl is going to be the bigger story. But, man, if he got hurt again in the first game, I mean, that would be a huge story as well. But if they found a way to win it all, man, the Jets, I'm going to say that's the bigger story.
Britt, what say you?
I'm going to say the I am going to say the Jets winning the Super Bowl because they don't have a Super Bowl, right? I don't think they have one. Or they have one.
Back when Joe Namath.
Joe Namath, yeah.
Guaranteed.
Okay.
Like, we're talking 60s, Britt, long before you
so
were.
it's
Black and white. Even before my time.
Yeah.
It's been a very, very long time. And every time you look at them Jets fan, they just look pitiful every single time. So I'm going to say the Super Bowl. But I do agree. If Aaron Rodgers get hurt again, that's going to be some crazy bad luck there.
Yeah. He looks a little gimpy still to me. Like I see him rolling out and stuff. He doesn't look like he's moving great. So we'll see. We'll see.
Tyrod Taylor, step up.
Yeah.
Next up.
All right, y'all. That's all I got. Let's do who's balling and get out of here. Hopefully y'all got something ready to go. If not, I can stall a little bit while you guys think of something. But every week we want to shout out a team, a player, or a coach. Somebody who's just absolutely been getting it done. We call it our Who's Ballin' segment. K-Walk, who you got this week? Who's balling?
I'm going with my man. Aaron Judge, Aaron James Judge from the New York Yankees. Man, what he did in the month of May, and he continued to do it in the month of June as well. It has just been absolutely balling, man. I mean, putting up numbers, 27 home runs. I mean, we're talking about. I mean, he's on pace to hit, I think, 55 right now. I believe it is. Which he last year he hit 62, or the year before he had 62. The American League all-time leading home run hitter in the American League, and he's leading these Yankees right now with the best record in the American League as well. So Aaron Judge has been doing it all. I'm talking about home runs, doubles as well, playing an outstanding outfield as well. This year he's played all three outfields, left field, center, and right field as well. So my man Aaron Judge, hold on, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, my man Aaron Judge has absolutely been balling.
All right, good stuff there, K-Walk. I'm gonna stick in the WNBA, and I'm gonna shout out a team here, the Connecticut Sun. They are off to an incredible start. They've only lost one game this entire year. They lost to the New York Liberty.
Okay.
But I don't think anyone was expecting them to go undefeated. But man, they're playing great. They got a really, really good team. And they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. They're going to have some say in this year's WNBA championship. So the Connecticut Sun, absolutely balling. What you got for us, Britt?
I gotta go with the WNBA, and I know we talked about Caitlin Clark a lot. Did I hear keys or something?
I heard that too.
I hear something too. It might be my dog might be doing something.
But no, we've been talking about Caitlin Clark a lot, and deservingly so. But we got to talk about the face of the WNBA and how dominant she has been, averaging 28, 29 points, 11 rebounds, purely dominance. My favorite player, although she's not on my favorite team, my favorite player in the WNBA as of right now, the one and only A'ja Wilson. She said, y'all can talk about whoever the heck y'all want, but I'm the best in this piece. I'm number one, and ain't nobody taking that title from me. And she's my MVP, and we're not even halfway through the season.
Yeah,
so, A'ja Wilson. Hold on. Been balling.
No, Britt, that's a great call. I was watching her the other day. I was going to text you guys because she was just so dominant. She was playing like you could just tell from her body language that she was like, there is nothing anybody on this court can do to stop me. I can do whatever I want, and no one on this court can have a say about it. So that's a great call. She's been fantastic. The Aces haven't been as great. I think they've lost like 3, maybe 4 games so far this year. They've been losing, and they got a tough one tonight against Minnesota. So but A'ja Wilson has been absolutely phenomenal. All right, y'all, let's get ready to get out of here. Great show tonight. Before we get out of here, let's let the people know where they can find us, and if there's anything we're looking forward to this week. K-Walk, what you got for us?
Yes, what I'm looking forward to this week is just the NBA Finals. Ladies and gentlemen, more and more WNBA getting involved with that. Obviously, baseball as well. Looking forward, and I want to take this time to wish all of the fathers, but happy Father's Day this weekend. So looking forward to they appreciate it, brother. So just wishing all the fathers out there a happy Father's Day. And where you can find me on Facebook, Kevin Walker, Instagram, Kevin.Walker142. Twitter, Twix, X. I call it Twix because I'm still calling it Twitter, but it's X. Kevin Walker at Kevin Walker 142. And tomorrow night, you can catch me on Sports Talk with K-Walk with E. Scott on Never Had It So Good Sports Radio. Wherever you get your podcast, ladies and gentlemen, you can listen to us live. If you go into those social media platforms, the link will be there. You can click on there to listen live. Got a great one dialed up for you tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen. So looking forward to that, guys.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's a great show, Sports Talk with K-Walk and E. Scott. If you get a chance to listen to it, you will not be disappointed. You guys can find me at Jason Talk Sports on all social media platforms at Jason Talk Sports. And yeah, K-Walk, I'm looking forward to all the same stuff. WNBA, obviously the NBA Finals picks back up tomorrow. And I'm going to shout out the UFL. They're going to play their championship this weekend as well. So I'm going to tune into a little bit of the United Football League championship as well. So it's tough. But I'm going to try to tune in for the championship. All right, Britt, what you got?
You guys can find me on Instagram, Twitter at Brittany Monique's at the bottom of the screen. Basically, all same thing Jay said, all social media platforms. I like that, Jay. I'm gonna steal that at Brittany Monique. No Y in my name, guys. There's no Y at all. Keep getting that question. But I'm looking forward to the NBA Finals, the WNBA season. It's my time is coming up. The Olympics is coming up. So we got the Olympic trials coming up. So I'm excited. I'm a big, huge track person. And I can't wait for, the 100 meters, 200 meters, 400 meters. I just love it all. I sit and listen
Yeah.
every last one of them. The hurdles, I love it all. So that's what I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah, good stuff there, Britt. I'm looking forward to that as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you guys listening. Do us a favor, hit that like, hit that subscribe, share it, tell a friend about us. We're trying to grow this channel, and anything you can do to help us, we greatly appreciate it. We'll be back here live next Tuesday at 7 p.m. So for Brittany Jones and Kevin Walker, I'm Jason Collins. We'll see you guys next week.
You're inside Never Had It So Good Sports Radio with Princess Cooper, Tim Moore, David the Duck Riley, Jason Collins, Shoshana Cook, Brittany Jones, Travis McGee, Eric Scott, and Kevin Walker. We make it easy to talk sports.